with that, I was thinking about goal setting. How could with just like day-to-day stuff, how can I, just even from small to big, how do I orient that around goal setting?
Think about if I can, we'll pull it back a little bit. Pretend Brodmann 8, not pretend, but picture Brodmann 8. It's on both sides of your brain. You have hemispheres, right? There's a right side and there's a left side. Right side, we're talking about focused attention. What's my goal? Pretend we think about the short-term goal of completing Ramadan successfully. I want to fast all day. I want to minimize my sins. I want to, all that stuff, right? That's where I want to be. My big picture is completing Ramadan successfully. That's the right side. The left side then, frontal eye field, focused attention. Now I'm going to start looking at every little step. I'm going to pay attention to, for example, we made our shakes last night, didn't we? To achieve our goal of fasting today and not running out of time. So,
or having to like rush and kind of.
There was no rushing this morning, was there?
It was just sitting back. Okay.
Exactly. So that's your goal. What you do is you set your goal, right? You've got this. It's interesting because you got to have a big picture, little picture running almost at the same time. So think about how hard that is. That's why literally hemisphericity is a real thing. This side is the big picture. I constantly want to do Ramadan correctly. I want that to increase my chance to getting into heaven. Successfully completing Ramadan. I don't want to gossip. I don't want to backbite. What we talked about earlier was I want to focus on reading the Quran every day. Frontal eye field, right? And then the left side, well, now I glided into the left side because now I'm doing my action steps. I'm planning my meals. I know what time I can. This morning we finished at 6:13, I think was the time. So I know what my time is. So then I also move into, I'm reading the Quran every day. I'm reminding myself, I'm learning, I'm focusing my attention, and I'm taking my left-sided action steps. You could even put, that's why science shows sticky notes on your bathroom mirror work.
Okay.
Every day you look in that mirror and you see your goal in writing, because you actually took a left brain thing. You took an action step. You wrote down the goal.
Okay.
You wrote down the step you may want to take. For me, I'm
thought about the idea of what you wanted to work on and putting that to paper. Okay.
Exactly. Put pen to paper. That's an action step. Put the sticky note up. Now, rather than thinking about it once in a while, every Monday I'm going to think about it.
Every time you get down on yourself and you think about it, you got to do it again. Okay.
Yeah. Think about, you change from thinking, if you only thought about something once a month, you think about it 12 times a year, what's your likelihood of achieving that goal? Slim to none. If I look at it every day, I look in that mirror, it's at least 365 as compared to 12 that I've looked at my goal.
Yeah.
Focused attention, frontal eye field, supplemental motor area, because now I've got to take motor actions. I wrote it down. All of that. Again, we go right back to what we talked about. Frontal lobe.
Forelock.
The forelock. And by doing these positive action steps, you want to have a key goal. Like the key goal is not just completing Ramadan, but making it to heaven. So an action step is every year I complete Ramadan. And then you want to create the keystone habit. We made our shakes last night to succeed today. And we set our alarm clocks. I actually woke up before the alarm clock went off.
You were just so excited.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is that keystone goals, keystone habits, focused attention, and like I said, we talked about two of the 5 up front with the frontal eye field and the supplemental motor area. Those, you're looking at it, you're focused on it, and you're taking action towards it. Motor action.
Okay, so that's the second area. You mentioned 5. What about the third one?
Oh, they're not actually in an order, but you have frontal eye field, supplemental motor area, you have the anterior cingulate, you have the orbital frontal cortex. Hugely important in terms of inhibiting emotions. This area right here.
Lowering the gaze.
Holy smokes. Yeah. That's 4. Dorsolateral prefrontal cortex.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
You can't forget
Okay,
that.
yeah.
And that breaks down into a couple other cortexes.
Why wouldn't it?
Yeah, research shows. But that's why we go right back to the verse, 96:15. You're lying frontal, you're lying forelock, your frontal lobe. And when you read that short chapter, 96, those verses set up good people. They should be listening and following and da-da-da. The bad people lying forelock. And that's how that all ties together. And for me, the science and religion, it just cleanly overlaps because of that.
Of course, what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because you mentioned how one goes in with visuals, the frontal
Frontal eye field.
Frontal eye field. And you also mentioned there's one that kind of goes along, you said the top left.
Orbital frontal cortex.
Okay, what do we got going on there?
Really cool. Initiation and inhibition, that's closely tied to your limbic system, which is your emotions.
It's wild that that's in the front too, if you think
Right?
about it.
Literally, like in the pictures here in my notes, it's literally like right up in here.
Okay.
And you've got the dorsal lateral.
Yeah, go from front to back. Go front to back.
Front to back?
Yeah.
We go, there's different Brodmann areas, and there's, side to side, a little more high and low and stuff. But generally speaking, the orbital frontal cortex, right up front, you've got the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, you've got the frontal eye fields, generally speaking, got the supplemental motor area, and right behind those, tying in, is your anterior cingulate for motivation and some emotional importance.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I figure with the brain and everything, obviously everything's got to like filter through it.
Mm-hmm,
So even with, it's just crazy seeing how even from structure, it's going front to back, how we receive the information and how we go ahead and...
Yeah, with your visual and with seeing the information, it jumps front through the middle in the thalamus, and the lateral geniculate is visual information in your thalamus.
Okay.
Then it jumps. Imagine that. How fast does this have to happen?
Yeah.
And then it goes through, hits your occiput, your occipital cortex, and Brodmann areas 17, 18, and 19, your visual field.
Okay.
And then that comes back up here, and this is the where is it. Your temples, your parietal lobes, your temporal lobes are your what is it, part of your vision, believe it or not, right? Then think about what's taking place.
And then you mentioned different hemispheres, so it's
right and left. So generally speaking, you've got inhibition, initiation, activation. These are general.
And it's pretty important to kind of focus all that because there's a lot going on there.
Frontal eye field.
That's where the sticky notes come in.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.